Hello guys! Hi! Welcome to stream. Njan ningada streamer, and today I have to talk about my title. Fuck, sorry. Anyways, the title of the stream is pretty much what's happening in the world of anime, I guess. And for many people, they know that Attack on Titan, the final, came out 2 days back. I don't know why I'm talking about Attack on Titan again, but yeah, man, I gotta say, like as I said earlier, it's not a bad ending. Like they wrapped it up very good, I guess. And I didn't have much complaints with the anime. Like there were some nitpicks that I had, but I guess whatever, plot armor. Meh. Anyways, talking about that, apparently the ratings for the final episode, which was critically acclaimed, appraised, and is everyone's now saying that it's their favorite anime ever, is 6.1, because One Piece fans were like, you review bombed Gear 5, so we are going to review bomb this. And yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Oh, pistol. Ore no pistol. Anyways. So that's what happened. But anyways, yeah, it's just toxic fans being toxic fans. I don't know what to say anymore. Because at this point, I don't know which fan base isn't, toxic. Let's just say, quote unquote, toxic. I don't know. I would say like mainstream is the reason why fandoms are considered toxic nowadays. How the fuck did I...
Did you see how great I was? I did all kinds of really amazing moves. Are you listening?
Okay. Anyways.
Frag out. Let's go this way. Void running. Zone C. Need to recharge my shields.
It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, it was the season of darkness. It was the winter. I've made no secret of the fact that I consider the MCU to be pretty much a spent force creatively, a big lumbering juggernaut still coasting on the momentum of the Infinity Saga, becoming increasingly bogged down in divisive identity politics, and trying in vain to launch a new lineup of bland, unimagined, yet Black Widow was an absolute dumpster fire that gave a beloved legacy character the most ignominious send-off since Luke Skywalker. Shang-Chi was a dull, forgettable fantasy with all the personality of vanilla ice cream, with no fucking flake in it. While The Eternals was a ridiculous convoluted mess made by a director completely out of her depth that sank under the weight of its own self-importance. And as for the TV shows, don't even get me fucking started on them.
You've got to do better, Senator. You've got to step up.
But then, right at the tail end of a pretty depressing year in cinema, along came a spider, and totally fucking changed everything. Spider-Man No Way Home is good. Really fucking good.
No way!
You serious?
But it did.
I know, I'm just as shocked as you are. In fact, a few months ago, I never could have imagined that I'd be singing the praises of an MCU movie, least of all, one of the most lightweight, safe, and cookie-cutter heroes of all, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But credit where credit's due, and believe me, this movie deserves a shit ton of it. It's been a really fucking long time since I've walked out of a movie theatre absolutely buzzing at what I've just seen, riding the emotional high that comes from experiencing something truly special. No Way Home does the seemingly impossible by giving us a Spider-Man movie with actual stakes and consequences, genuine drama and pathos, satisfying emotional payoffs, and the possibility of redemption, not just for some of the most dangerous villains, but also for a Spider-Man that never got the opportunity he deserved. Now, out of respect for this movie, I'm going to keep my plot summary pretty brief. There's going to be a few spoilers, of course, because it's pretty much impossible to review without giving a few things away. So if you absolutely don't want to know anything about this film, you should probably wait until you've seen it first. Anyway, the plot picks up right after the events of Far From Home. Peter's been unmasked as Spider-Man and framed for the death of Mysterio. Although he escaped prosecution, his global infamy makes him a divisive figure, to the point where it starts to fuck things up for Ned and MJ. Out of desperation, he seeks out Doctor Strange and asks him to come up with a magic spell that'll make everyone forget who he really is and undo the damage he's caused. Unfortunately, the spell goes tits up and opens up cracks in his reality, allowing villains from alternate realities to cross over into Peter's worlds. Before you know it, he's battling classic antagonists like Doc Ock and the Green Goblin without knowing who the fuck they are or why they're trying to kill him. Anyway, the upshot here is that Strange wants to return them to their own reality, knowing that both are destined to get killed in battle with their respective Spider-Men. Peter believes he can help them first, curing them of whatever ailments turned them evil, and perhaps changing their fates before they go back. It's an admirable goal, but unfortunately not all of them are so receptive to help and tragic consequences. Outnumbered and shattered by a personal loss, Peter's in no condition to take on some of the most dangerous enemies that Spider-Man's ever faced. Well, not until he receives some help from an unlikely source. Actually, two unlikely sources. But with Doctor Strange's failed magic spell threatening to undermine all of reality, Peter may just be forced to sacrifice everything he knows to set things right. One of my big criticisms of the MCU Spider-Man films has been their lack of emotional weight, tangible stakes, and real-life consequences. Previous versions of the character really had to struggle with the personal costs of being a hero, whether it was failed relationships, missed career opportunities, or personal tragedies. Whatever it might be, they really underscored the key message that being a hero isn't just about defeating the bad guy and living happily ever after. It's a life that demands great personal sacrifices, and the fact that Peter was willing to do it without getting any real praise or recognition really highlighted the strength of his character. But those vital elements were depressingly absent in the MCU. This version of Peter lives in a nice house in the suburbs, he's got a loyal best friend and a growing relationship with MJ, who quickly figures out and accepts his true identity. He even has a fancy new high-tech suit courtesy of Tony Stark. And well, it all just felt a bit too safe, too comfortable and easy, like the serialized TV show where the characters get to a new adventure each week without any long-term changes to their situation. But that shit goes right out the window here, believe me. This is very much a movie where Peter's choices have real consequences for him, where he's not able to conveniently save everyone, and where he'll come face to face with the true cost of being a hero. It's great fucking stuff and an absolute joy to see what Tom Holland can do when he's given decent material to get stuck into. For the first time, I was actually invested in his version of Peter. I empathised with his losses, I cheered him on in his struggles, and I felt genuinely bad for the guy when I realised what he'd have to give up. Tonally, this movie feels much more in line with the Sam Raimi trilogy than the other two MCU films, which is fucking ideal because Raimi came closest to understanding the character and his place in the worlds. And there's no way I could do this review without talking about the other two Spider-Men, because let's be honest, the prospect of seeing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield reprise their roles again was pretty much the main selling point of this movie for most people. And I'm happy to say they absolutely hit a home run with this one, giving them both smart, character arcs that don't just stay consistent with who they were before, they actually build on it in a wonderfully satisfying way. Tobey Maguire was always going to be the Spider-Man for me, so I'm not ashamed to say that he was the one I was most excited to see again. And damn, considering he hasn't played the character in nearly 15 years, he's barely missed a beat. Yeah, he's older now and he's a bit rusty at first, but he fits comfortably into the role of a more mature and experienced Peter, who's very much been there and done that without losing sight of who he really is. And when it's time to put on the suit again, he's still more than capable of kicking ass. Damn, imagine a hero who's older but still capable, optimistic and true to himself. The movie gives him some funny and poignant moments, especially in the finale, so I was more than happy with how they treated it. But for me, the man of the match has got to go to Andrew Garfield. There's not many people who consider him their favourite Spider-Man, and his own run was cut short by the failure of the second movie. But holy shit, he redeemed himself here. He's forged a pretty successful career as a cinematic actor, so it wouldn't be easy for him to turn down a role like this, or even worse, phone in some half-arsed performance for a quick and easy payday. But it's the total opposite here. He's really going for it. You can practically feel how excited and happy he is to be playing Peter again, and the result is that he's a better Spider-Man here than he was in his own fucking movies. This version of Peter is still haunted by the death of Gwen Stacy. He's begun to stray down a darker and more vengeful path, and it's only by learning from the other two that he's able to let go of his guilt and grief. And holy shit, there's a scene right near the end where all of that comes together into one beautiful moment where he finally gets to do the one thing he never could before. Maguire back again. Ultimately, he got his trilogy and didn't really need redemption here. Andrew Garfield, on the other hand, finally got a chance to put things right, showing us a little glimpse of what might have been, and I couldn't be happier for the guy. Watching all three of them interact, comparing their powers and experiences, is a dream come true for most comic book fans, and it's made even better because all three men have genuinely good chemistry together. You can tell that they're having fun, they're happy to be there, and they enjoy playing off each other. It's the same deal with the antagonists, who all slip back into their roles like comfortable gloves. Alfred Molina is pitch perfect as Doc Ock, courtesy of a little digital de-aging that's absolutely flawless. He's smart and articulate and proves to be both a dangerous enemy and a useful ally. Just like Garfield, Jamie Foxx gets the chance to redeem himself after the debacle of Spider-Man 2. This version of Electro is much more menacing and power-hungry than before, and gets to pose a genuine threat for once. But the star of the show has got to be Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn. Fuck me, you'd never think it had been 20 years since he played this role. The guy never misses a beat. He's able to swing from regretful and compassionate to malicious and evil in the blink of an eye, and the final battle between him and Spider-Man is a perfect example of emotional payoff over flashy action, proving once again that less is more. Jesus Christ, even MJ looks, talks and acts like an actual human being this time around, instead of a socially challenged Martian that's been temporarily put in charge of a human body. Christmas truly is the time of miracles. When I think about how much I enjoyed No Way Home and what I liked so much about it, I can't shake the feeling that despite all the flashy action scenes and snarky dialogue, this doesn't really feel like a current year Marvel movie. There's no clumsy social commentary, no divisive political posturing, no overpowered and completely unlikable strong female characters, and no mean-spirited deconstruction of legacy heroes and villains. Like Homecoming and Far From Home, this movie was a joint production between Disney and Sony, but it really feels like Sony had a bigger hand in it this time around. And if that's the case, then I'm all in with that shit. There's something wonderfully old-fashioned about this film and its approach to storytelling that reminded me of a time when movies united rather than divided people. It reminded me that superhero films are actually allowed to be fun and magical and uplifting, that they can be an escape from the cares and worries of the real world for a few hours. that they can still make people feel good. It's almost like when you stop trying to push the message and just concentrate on telling a good fucking story, people respond to it. I don't know if this movie represents a turning of the tide, or if it's just an isolated incident that'll be quickly gone and forgotten. But honestly, if anyone in Hollywood still cares about entertaining their audiences and making money, then they do very well to follow the example set by No Way Home. As for me, I fucking loved it, and I give it a wholehearted recommendation. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now. Every once in a while, a movie comes along that ends up surprising you by being way better than it has any right to be. Whether it's Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon fighting giant underground worms in Tremors, or Nick Cage going full Nick Cage in a psychedelic acid-fueled revenge trip in Mandy, or in this case, Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds in a bizarre mashup of The Matrix and the Lego Movie set in the world of Grand Theft Auto. Free Guy is a film that I went into with pretty low expectations, if I'm honest. The trailers made it seem like the kind of lowbrow, low-effort comedy that tries to milk the elusive teat of online gaming culture without really understanding it, and throws in some pretty uninspired jokes, leaving the hyperactive Reynolds to carry it over the line with maximum effort. But what I got in reality was a funny, good-natured and refreshingly inventive comedy, with a likeable cast and some surprisingly poignant and heartfelt moments towards the end. I mean, it's not going to be winning any Oscars, and I'd be lying if I said all of the jokes landed, but for the most part it was a movie I was able to just sit back and enjoy, and I came out of the theatre feeling like I'd been pretty well entertained for a couple of hours. And that's a fucking rarity these days, believe me. Free Guy revolves around the online virtual world of Free City, a GTA 5 kind of deal where players can fight each other, complete missions, and generally cause mayhem and destruction without considering the consequences. But the one thing they never bother to consider is the NPCs who populate Free City, basically just simple computer programs who go through the same routine every day with no awareness of their true nature. None of them except Guy, a bank teller whose life revolves around going to work each day and getting robbed by human players. But that all begins to change when he randomly encounters Millie, a player from the real world who he instantly falls in love with and tries to talk to. It doesn't work out too well for him though, but this tiny change in his behaviour starts a gradual cascade of decisions that causes him to become self-aware, break his programming, and ultimately see the world around him for what it really is. Mistaken Guy for a fellow player, Millie tells him that he needs to level up if he expects to survive in Free City. But because he's not willing to kill or harm other people, he does it instead by helping them, completing missions without shedding blood, and generally being, well, a really nice guy. Something which is pretty much unknown in a world where players are encouraged to act without consequences, and as a result, Guy quickly becomes a kind of internet celebrity, with people speculating about who he might really be. Millie, on the other hand, begins to suspect there's more to Guy than meets the eye, and that it might have something to do with her true mission inside Free City. See, she's one of a pair of software engineers who originally designed Free City to be something much more wholesome and peaceful, a world where players could watch intelligent characters slowly evolve and develop over time. Unfortunately, their work was stolen by Antoine, a greedy businessman who used their basic code to create Free City instead. Since then, she's been on a quest to expose his shady dealings to the world, and comes to realise that Guy could well be the proof that she needs. Millie wants to protect him, Antoine wants to destroy him, and the whole story culminates in a race against time to get to the truth before Free City is taken offline permanently. Like I said at the start, the concept of an online virtual world has been used plenty of times before in modern storytelling. The Matrix did it, Ready Player One did it, shit man, even Westworld tapped into a similar idea of NPCs gradually becoming aware of their true nature. But I think Free Guy does a good job of balancing serious ideas like this against the backdrop of light-hearted humour. It never takes its ideas too seriously or strays too far into the moral dilemma of creating artificial intelligence purely for human entertainment. Clearly, there's been an attempt to appeal to younger audiences with the humour here. Some of the in-jokes really depend on you having a working knowledge of online gaming, but it never really becomes off-putting. Well, except when they bring in real-life YouTubers and Twitch streamers for cameo appearances. They fit into the movie about as naturally as Movie Bob at an ultramarathon, and I can only imagine that non-gamers must have been left scratching their heads, wondering what the fuck they were looking at. Guy himself is generally likeable and funny enough to keep you on his side. I mean, yeah, it's clearly just Ryan Reynolds playing his most famous role of all, Ryan Reynolds, and how much you empathise with Guy is going to depend on how much Ryan Reynolds you can tolerate. Personally, I thought he was able to keep it fairly dialed back here, and it helps that the movie actually gives him an understandable arc to work through. I couldn't help but enjoy it as he starts to work his way up the rankings. I genuinely felt bad for the guy once he finally realises what he is, and I found myself cheering him on as he makes his final bid for freedom. The rest of the cast also does a solid job. Jodie Comer and Joe Keery are both likeable as Millie and Walter, the two programmers and former friends who reluctantly start working with each other again. Although I'm pretty sure they worked in the fake dialogue function for no other reason than to showcase Comer's ability to do pretty much any accent on Earth. Seriously, you'd never fucking guess this girl was from Liverpool.
I've always imitated adverts and stuff with me dad.
Taika Waititi plays an arrogant, narcissistic arsehole about as well as you'd expect. I mean, with your strength, I suppose. Oh, and I just have to say, dude was a work of fucking genius. He pretty much stole the show from me. A half-finished program sitting with the game to hunt Guy down and destroy him. He's got some of the best lines precisely because he's so dumb and incomplete. It's just a shame he doesn't show up until the last 10 minutes, leaving him feeling like an underused resource. I really wanted more of this guy. What I also liked about Free Guy is that there's pretty much no pandering or agendas involved. The only subtext is really one of self-discovery, breaking free of the constraints and expectations of society, and taking immortality towards becoming your own person. But the film never prioritizes or demonizes one group or demographic over another. It's a wholesome, inspiring, universal kind of message that pretty much everyone can get behind. Millie is never presented as the unrecognized brains behind her partnership with Walter, and she doesn't spend the movie insulting and berating every man in sight. Guy's story and character arc is very much the core of the film, and as much as he struggles and fails at first, the script never tries to undermine its own protagonist. Holy shit, it's like the writers have realised that tackling universal ideas without resorting to petty tribalistic bullshit might just make general audiences more inclined to watch their film. Give them a gold star, everyone. The only part that felt slightly jarring was a weird joke about white privilege that came out of nowhere and landed about as well as a plane with no undercarriage. But aside from that, there's no undertone of lingering hatred and bitterness like you get in so many films these days, and as a result, well, Free Guy ended up being a fun, baggage-free movie that does exactly what it sets out to do: entertain people. Wow, who would have thought that such a thing was possible in 2021? Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Charging on my shields. Care package being delivered.
Third party, they're trying to corner us.
It's no secret that I've always had kind of a love-hate relationship with the X-Men series. On the one hand, it's given us truly awesome movies like X2 and Days of Future Past, but on the other, it's shat out creative disasters like The Last Stand, X-Men Origins Wolverine, Apocalypse, and Dark Phoenix. It's certainly been a rocky road, but I think most people would agree that one of the best things to come out of this mess was Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Yeah, he didn't always have the best scripts to work with, and he's about a foot taller than his comic book counterparts, but there was just something fundamentally cool and awesome about the guy. He really seemed to take the role seriously, no matter what was asked of him, and he was clearly prepared to put in the work to get into Wolverine's shape. The fact that he's in almost every X-Men movie should tell you just how much the studio relied on him to get arses in the seats. But all good things have to come to an end, and after 17 years and 8 film appearances, Hugh Jackman was ready to hang up the claws. He was almost 50 years old and keen to move on to new projects, but he was willing to give Wolverine one last outing, and when he began looking at ideas for where to take the character, it wasn't long before the Old Man Logan storyline rose to the top. Working with writer and director James Mangold, Jackman fought hard to make this film different from everything that had come before it. He wanted it to be grounded, gritty and character focused instead of some big special effects monstrosity, and he even took ahead to pay cut to secure an R rating. And shit man, did his gamble pay off. Logan is quite possibly the best X-Men movie ever made, and I'd argue it's one of the strongest comic book adaptations of all time, delivering a perfect send-off for one of the most popular superhero characters in cinema. Allow me to explain why. The movie kicks off in the year 2029, where an aging Logan is eking out a living as a limo driver, making just enough money to care for a dying Professor Xavier as the man sees out his final days. Xavier's suffering from dementia, which means he's slowly losing control of his powerful psychic abilities and has to be kept sedated to stop him from turning into a psychic time bomb. Right from the start, it's pretty obvious this is going to be a very different movie from the colourful, action-packed X-Men films we've been used to. The world of Logan is a bleak, lonely, sun-bleached kind of place where no mutants have been born in decades, and even the mighty X-Men are nothing but a distant memory, relegated to the pages of dusty comic books. Even Logan himself is starting to break down, his body covered with the scars of old battles, and his once superhuman healing ability now slow and painful. It turns out that his adamantium skeleton is slowly poisoning him, and now that his healing abilities are fading, the poison is starting to get the better of him. Basically, Logan is a man living on borrowed time, and he knows it. But he's given a new sense of purpose when he's recruited to drive a young girl named Laura to a sanctuary called Eden. Why? Because Laura's being hunted. She's a mutant with powers and abilities similar to his own, the first new mutant born in decades. As we soon find out, Laura and a bunch of other children like her were created in a lab by an evil company that wanted to weaponize them. Because, you know, there's always an evil company that wants to exploit mutants in these movies. When the experiments didn't pan out, the company planned to execute the children, but some of the nurses disobeyed orders and smuggled them out. Now they want to kill Laura to cover up the truth of their experiments, and they'll stop at nothing to get to her. And when they track Logan back to his hideout in the desert, he's left with no choice but to take her and Xavier and get the fuck out of there. So the bulk of the story is a kind of road trip movie and a chase thriller combined, as the trio make their way north to Eden, hunted by corporate mercenaries every step of the way. There's plenty of gory action and fight scenes, sure, but it's in the quieter moments that the film really shines through for me. At its heart, Logan is a character study about three very different people thrown together and forced to cooperate in order to survive. Whether it's the gang slowly opening up to each other as they travel through a bleak, desolate future America, or having dinner with a family that took them in for the night, simple moments like this really are a joy to watch. The chemistry between the three main actors is fucking perfect. Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman have been playing these roles for so long that they could practically perform them in their sleep, but this movie may represent their very best work. Their performances are poignant, understated and mature, especially Stewart, who plays a once proud man struggling to accept that his mind is failing him. With all the bravado and pretenses of previous movies stripped away, what you're left with are two old men, haunted by past mistakes and regrets, and facing the realization that there aren't that many days ahead for either of them. It's kind of ironic that their greatest strengths have become their most fatal weaknesses. Logan's adamantium skeleton that made him all but indestructible is now slowly killing him, while Xavier's psychic ability makes him a living weapon as he slowly loses control of it. Daphne Keane also does a great job as Laura, managing to portray a character that can be both dangerous and vulnerable depending on the situation. Child actors are always a bit of a gamble, especially when the movie demands a lot from them, but she absolutely delivers when she needs to, and the growing relationship between her and Logan represents the emotional heart of the film. After spending most of his life fighting and killing just to survive, Logan is absolutely not father material. But like everything else in this movie, it's the story of a deeply flawed man doing his best with what he has. The climax of the movie sees an exhausted Logan and Laura reunite with the other children who escaped the lab as they prepare to cross over the border into the relative safety of Canada. But the evil corporate guys aren't about to let them get away and intercept them just as they're about to escape. That leaves Logan with no choice but to make his last stand, taking an overdose of drugs to temporarily restore his strength and healing. And damn, what a fucking scene this is! After an entire movie watching a diminished Logan struggle just to keep up and do the things he used to find so easy, it's glorious to see him go into full-on berserker mode one last time, carving his way through fucking everything in his path, forcing himself to keep moving forward even as the drugs begin to wear off and his injuries mount up, and at last coming face to face with his greatest enemy of all, himself. This isn't the unstoppable, superhuman creature that could withstand anything the world could throw at him. This is a tired, wounded man at the limits of his strength and the end of his time, giving everything he has left to protect people he barely knows, willing to lay down his life for the daughter he never knew. It's the perfect swan song for a man that was always defined by the struggle between the selfish and heroic sides of his nature, never quite sure who he was meant to be or what path he was meant to walk, but in the end, redeeming himself in the most selfless way possible, giving his life so that others can have a chance at theirs. The movie ends with Laura and the other children laying him to rest in a peaceful forest, the last of the X-Men to fall, just as he was the first to rise. For me, Logan is pretty much the definitive Wolverine movie, and the best possible resolution for one of the most popular comic book characters of all time. Yeah, the plot isn't exactly complex, there's no shocking twists, unexpected revelations, or some grand battle for the fate of the planet, but it doesn't need to be complex. Logan tells a simpler, more grounded and heartfelt kind of story that reminds me of all those old westerns about aging gunslingers pulled into one last adventure before going out in a blaze of glory. And to be honest, I think that's exactly what they were going for here. Hugh Jackman made a very smart choice by going with the old man Logan storyline. Not many actors get to say goodbye to their most iconic role in a way that feels so dramatically and emotionally complete, but he did, because he was savvy enough to recognise that his Wolverine had reached the end of his road, and it was time to bow out gracefully. A different actor might have stuck around for a couple more movies, trying to milk the success of the Wolverine and Days of Future Past, but Jackman was smart enough to go out on a high. One of my big concerns going into this movie was how well a grounded R-rated film like Logan would handle the more outlandish aspects of the X-Men universe, but the movie manages to walk a difficult path between acknowledging past events without getting bogged down in the convoluted X-Men timeline, and you never really get the feeling that it's trying to mock or belittle previous movies. It's content to tell its own story that's largely separate from the rest of the X-Men universe, but it does so in a smart, respectful way that honours the past instead of trying to bury it. And thinking about Logan's retrospect, I can't help but wonder what could have been if only the studio had had the balls to take this kind of risk a decade earlier. Imagine if the two previous Wolverine movies had been gritty and R-rated and helmed by competent directors with a coherent storyline in mind. It could have been one of the best superhero trilogies ever. In reality, what we got was one shitty film that everyone involved with would rather forget. One irrelevant and a final chapter that water. And I suppose that sentiment pretty much sums up the X-Men franchise as a whole. It always came across as this kind of chaotic and haphazard, like they were literally making it up as they went along, and the result was a franchise that tried to do a bit of everything with varying degrees of success. Like a failed attempt to give each character their own origin movie, or jumping 40 years into the past to fill in previous events with a younger cast of actors, or a time travel plot to unite past and present and fix some of the fuck-ups of previous movies, or some weird horror spin-off series with yet another new cast, or another attempt to make the Dark Phoenix storyline happen. The X-Men series really has tried it all, and to be honest, it's probably failed more often than it's succeeded, but somehow I can never quite bring myself to hate it, because I recognise that it all had to be done without any kind of guide or framework. The X-Men seemed to be making things up as they went along because, well, most of the time they were. The slicker, smarter and more accessible MCU would eventually eclipse their success, and I think it's fair to say that Marvel learned a lot from the X-Men's mistakes, but this was still the franchise that paved the way for it, and I guess it deserved respect and recognition for that. I only wish Logan had been the final triumphant movie to cap it all off, instead of the ridiculous embarrassment of Dark Phoenix and the pointless damp squib that was New Mutants. But never mind, none of that should diminish the fact that even if it came a decade late, Logan proved that they finally figured out how to do Wolverine justice. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now. The X-Men movies and I have kind of a rough history together, and by rough, I mean I feel like I've been trapped in a turbulent and increasingly abusive relationship with them for the past 19 years. Things started off innocently enough with X-Men 1 and 2 in the early 2000s. They were charming but slightly goofy superhero movies from a time before the Marvel juggernaut really kicked into gear. But then the series lost its way and started drinking and slapping me around with The Last Stand and X-Men Origins. And I started to think we just weren't meant to be together. I was all set to pack my bags and leave, but then it pulled itself together, hit the gym and managed to pull me back with First Class, The Wolverine and Days of Future Past. Alright, I felt like we'd found our groove again and rekindled the spark. We were even experimenting with some guy named Deadpool who was a bit excitable and tried a little too hard to make people like him, but was fun to be around. But all too soon the old demons resurfaced, and the series went on a 3-day bender and gave me the beating of my life courtesy of X-Men Apocalypse. The writing
Your ruler. All right, let me see what you got.
Someone's gonna want Thor. Someone's gonna want Thor. Come on, it's Thor. Oh! Someone wants Thor! Let's go, let's go.
Pleased to meet you.
We're once again taking a journey back in time to tell a story nobody cares about. It's now 1992, even though everybody pretty much looks the same as they did in Apocalypse 8 years earlier. I also think it's pretty funny that Professor X goes from James McAvoy to Patrick Stewart in just 8 years. Well, whatever. So the space shuttle has been damaged by a
Haters here. Ni hao. Hello, Alaya. Hi. Hello. Ayo. And one.
Where have I seen this sort of thing before? Nah, no idea. Anyway, the space fart unlocks her childhood memories that Professor X hid from her, and she starts to remember all the bad stuff she did before she learned to control her powers, like killing her parents. So she goes nuts and destroys a party for the other X-Men, and then she passes out. We've all been there, Sansa. Then she realizes her dad's still alive, so she pops in to see him, and the X-Men go after her to bring her in, but she's not having it because she's bad Sansa now. Mystique tries to talk her down, but Sansa's losing her shit and begs her to leave, and Mystique's like, nah, it'll be fine. So Sansa kills her, and then she's all sad, so she flies away to Magneto.
Humans aren't too friendly to supernaturals. Maybe we should have stayed in the school.
I would suggest that you run. It won't make a difference. If you want to see the sunshine, you must weather the storm.
I've sacrificed everything.
With seas and storms at my command, I shall wipe you from this world. I would suggest that if you want to see the sunshine, good luck. You must weather the storm.
I am devilish. I joined Satanics Anonymous the other day. Just for the
With
hell of it.
seas and storms at my command, I shall wipe you from this world. I would suggest that you run.
The third level of hell is reserved for goons like you.
A mighty storm!
It's rather bad. I've
A mighty
sacrificed
storm! If you want to see the sunshine, you must weather the storm.
because you should be. Soon, you will be
With
up.
seas and storms at my command, I shall wipe you from this world.
Just for the hell of it. How disgusting.
listen.
I've sacrificed everything. What have you done with yours?
On my way. Ultimate is ready.
Hello.
See the sun.
Hi.
Your middle tower is under
Dusty.
On my attack.
One less obstacle on our journey.
Dusty.
An ally has made the ultimate sacrifice. Yes. Looks like the Knights of the Round have a new opening. An enemy has been slain.
Low light. Magnificent.
A mighty storm.
That level of hell is reserved for goons like you. Also,
I would suggest that you
rather
run.
bad down there.
Report me.
No.
Completed.
Disgusting.
If you want to see the sunshine, you must weather the storm. Cancel that.
Christ, they have been overcome. Killing spree.
Ah.
Out of mana.
Out of mana.
Recipe. Oh, recipe.
One less obstacle on our journey. When a fellow knight falls, a true leader picks up their slack.
Take this jungle buff.
Yes! I need the jungle buff.
Cancel that.
Because basically that's the exact same character she's been playing for 9 years now on a certain other show. But when she tries to go into badass Dark Phoenix...
Enemy ultimate incoming.
It's ready. Nature is
Christ, they have been challenged. Christ, they have been over. An enemy has been slain.
magnificent.
Group up.
Mischief managed.
Thanks.
Ultimate is ready.
Obsolete.
I would suggest that you
I drink satanic synonymous beer just for the hell of
Okay.
it. That'll cost you.
If you want to see the sunshine, you must weather the storm.
Be careful.
Hello. I'm still alive. The worst level of hell is reserved for goons like you.
I would suggest that you run.
It's rather bad down there.
It won't make a difference.
Nature is
An ally has been slain. Only as good as your middle tower is under attack. One less obstacle on our journey.
wow.
Cleaved in twain. Christ, they have been challenged. Christ, they have been overcome. Killing spree.
Yes! Nice.
this jungle buff.
2016, an unwanted, unnecessary, and unpopular attempt to reboot an old franchise with a derivative story and a cast of inferior actors. I figured it was time to so this time around.
Thrice they have been challenged. Thrice they have been overcome. Killing spree!
Nature is
An ally has made the ultimate sacrifice. We must stop. Two foes down, a countless army to go. You have been slain.
Your middle tower is under attack.
feel my hatred.
Looks like the Knights of the Round have a new opening. Your middle tower has been destroyed.
Series for a new generation of fans. Even though Men in Black 3 only came out like 7 years earlier. Shit, man, I've got underwear that's older than that. However, the upshot here is boring, unimaginative.
An enemy has been slain. Thrice they have been challenged. Thrice they have been overcome. One less obstacle on our journey. An enemy has been slain. Thrice they have been challenged. Thrice they have been overcome. Killing spree! One less obstacle on our journey.
Anyway, just in case. But nah.
Take this jump.
On my way. On my way.
And Molly's
Ultimate is ready.
Thompson. And she's dedicated her entire life to finding
I joined Satanics Anonymous the other day, just for the hell of it.
On my way.
Scoundrel falls! Press up! An enemy has been slain. One less obstacle on our journey. Double kill. Cleaved in twain.
If you want to see the sunshine, you must weather the storm.
Nature isn't always kind. On my way.
Nice job. Okay. I'm going for jungle buff. I'm going for jungle buff.
She doesn't need any kind of training.
Take this jungle buff.
Okay. Be careful.
Well, good luck.
Is that really all it
I've sacrificed everything.
Retreat!
Also, isn't this kind of bad from a character?
Retreat!
Nature isn't always kind.
An ally has been slain. made the ultimate sacrifice. An enemy has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack. Two foes down, a countless army. Thrice they have devoured. Thrice, one less obstacle on our journey. Double kill.
I sacrificed everything. How disgusting. On my way. Hello.
On my way.
I joined Satanic Anonymous the other day. Rejuvenate!
Thrice they have been
You amaze me.
Thrice they have been overcome. Killing spree! For all that is good and healthy, pick yourself up. Your tale is not over yet.
Take this jungle.
I sacrificed everything.
I would suggest that you
Thanks.
this jungle house.
No!
Get right lane. A mighty storm. This jungle house.
Completed.
Enemies incoming. A mighty storm. I'm going for jungle bomb. Must. On my
Well,
way.
good luck.
Another night falls. Leader picks up their slack.
Okay. That's too bad.
Yes! That'll cost you. Mischief managed.
Attack the minions.
Looks like the Knights of the Round have a new opening. An enemy has been slain. Cleaved in twain. Your evil strengthens us. One less obstacle on our journey.
On my way.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill. A legend is born. The villains have been routed. For now, our kingdom is safe.
On my way. On my way. If you want to see the sunshine, you must weather the storm. With seas and storms at my command, I shall wipe you from this world.
One less obstacle on our journey. An ally has made the ultimate sacrifice. Two foes down, a countless army to go.
Retreat!
Hello.
A mighty storm!
I'm still alive. Satanic Anonymous.
Jungle box.
An ally has been slain.
You never know what we might be up against.
Thrice they
A
have been
mighty
covered.
storm!
See you
Thrice
later.
they have been overcome. Killing spree!
Well, good luck.
Telephone തന്നെ.
Ultimate is ready.
A mighty storm! An enemy has been slain.
Sorry.
On my way. Be right back.
On my way.
And I guess you're not really supposed to think about why you're there.
See the sun. You must weather the storm.
On my way.
Suggest that you
Obstacle on our journey. An ally has made the ultimate sacrifice. Our enemies falter. An enemy has been slain. One less obstacle on our journey. An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Thrice they have been challenged. Thrice they have been overcome. Killing spree. Looks like the Knights of the Round have a new opening. Triple kill. To your side.
See you later.
Merlin, our friend has fallen. You wouldn't happen to be versed in healing magic, would you?
I shall wipe you from this world. Weather the storm.
Can't believe I want that. But anyways.
Nero and Pacino of our generation, and seeing
എന്തോ
them join forces
മെസ്സേജ്
with
റിഡാക്റ്റഡ്
the
എന്നൊക്കെ.
cinematic event that their agents
ഇത്
probably
പബ്ജി മൊബൈലിൽ നിന്ന് കാണിക്കുന്ന എന്റെ ഗെയിം.
They swapped
What the
some
fuck?
decent banter
Ah,
at
whatever.
times, and Hemsworth's got enough charisma to carry most of their scenes, but it's all surface level stuff, just attracting people in. Saying lines that are occasionally abusive, strung together by a plot they're not meant to be so much. And I guess that's pretty much the goal of this entire movie. Don't think or stop to question it, just consume the product, forget about it and move on. Everything's done in the most realistic and lazy way possible to produce an end product that's so safe, predictable, and imaginative that it should be a fucking MCU movie. Ultimately, Men in Black International is just another addition to the sad list of films like Dark Fate, Amazing Spider-Man and Ghostbusters 2016, all of which tried and failed to restart old franchises without really understanding what made them work in the first place. Anyway, that's all I've got today. Go away now. Well, it finally happens. After months of speculation, leaks, arguments, debates, rumors, conjugation, and
Hello, everybody.
ഓ എൻ്റെ എനിക്ക് പാട്ട് ഇടണമെന്നുണ്ട് ബട്ട് മാൻ തോന്നുന്നു.
I am Iron Man.
Nerdrotic
fanbase.com.
Oh man, you just hate to see it. Disney Marvel has had yet another bad week. I mean, aside from the parent company's stock continuing to fall, fired Marvel chairman Ike Perlmutter is backing activist investor Nelson Peltz to force his way on the board to force Bob Iger to change or force him out. Disney just got completely roasted by South Park in an episode that's gone insanely viral. There was recently a book written about Marvel airing some of their dirty laundry. The Marvels is projected to be a historic flop. The 3 most recent clips from the Marvels on the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel are either almost ratioed or ratioed. Then there's that Jonathan Majors trouble. Now, I could be talking about his court case, or I could be talking about his acting.
No.
And no one's watching Loki Season 2. So no, things haven't been going that well for the House of Mouse and its subsidiary Marvel, but as we like to say with all things concerning Disney, things can always get worse. And they have. This is a partial quote from an article. Marvel is truly fucked. Does it come from Bounding into Comics? Does it come from a Ryan Kinnell thumbnail? Does it come from one of my videos? No, it comes from Variety. So join me, you 875,000 practitioners of common sense and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. Truly. Let's talk about the access media turning on their masters. And
Oh, by the way, oh yeah, ഇന്നലെ ഞാൻ പെട്ടി കിട്ടിയിട്ട് തുറന്നില്ല അല്ലേ? Doctor's curse pack.
carpet bombing.
Okay, what am I gonna get?
Is an
Gold.
expose that is so
Come on, give me gold. I mean, I got gold, so I can't really. Oh, gold. What did I get? I mean, yeah, sure. This guy did carry me like in the last week, so yeah. Why not? So I have 3 heads now. Anyways, I can see challenges. I think I did all challenges. Yeah, so what am I supposed to do? Yeah, just make this 95. Let's see. Gadget kills. That's it. Huh.
Now, the reason we're going over this is because there is some new information. There's some information that confirms some of the stuff I've said. And yeah, it's a victory lap because guess what? The fans were right all along. This past September, a group of Marvel creatives, well, I'm going to have to stop you right there, Variety, because there are no longer any creatives at Marvel, including studio chief Kevin Feige assembled it. Annual retreat.
Tactical, because ഇതിലാണെങ്കിൽ ഏതെങ്കിലും റാൻഡം മാച്ചിൽ കേറുന്നെന്ന് കാണിക്കാൻ 2 റൗണ്ട് ലോഡിംഗ് സ്ക്രീൻ കാണിക്കും.
Owned by Disney since 2009, that's when Marvel died, has remade the entertainment business in its image, and boy does the entertainment business now regret that. But this occasion was angst-ridden. Everyone at Marvel was reeling from a series of disappointments on screen, a legal scandal involving one of its biggest stars, and a question about the viability of the studio's ambitious strategy to extend the brand beyond movies into streaming. Now, apparently the most pressing issue is Jonathan Majors. Now, I believe the man is innocent until proven guilty. He deserves his day in court. And
1 op 4 remaining.
Something they didn't show someone like Gina Carano. Patience. The actor insists that he is the victim, but the damage to his reputation and the chance he could lose the case has forced Marvel to reconsider its plans. Never mind the court case, Disney Marvel should be reconsidering their plans based on this.
Left and right. Left and right.
That's the gambit. Or this.
All friendlies have been eliminated.
Is every one of us?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
At a gathering in Palm Springs, executives discussed backup plans, including pivoting to another comic book adversary like Doctor Doom. And yes, a lot of us have been asking for that, but unfortunately, Marvel would probably have him fighting an all-female Fantastic Four or all-female Young Avengers. Not interested, but making any shift would carry its own headaches. Majors was already a big presence in the MCU, including as the scene-stealing antagonist in February's massive flop, Antifa Man and Wasp.
Friendly drone deployed. Op 4 is reinforcing its location. seconds to insertion. 5 seconds to insertion.
പച്ചാങ്കയാണോ?
From the book The Reign of Marvel Studios. According to one Marvel source, it was not originally intended to be the overarching villain. Loading fresh magazine. To a Thanos-level threat was based on the positive buzz that actors and majors generated for the role. Marvel is truly fucked with the whole Kane and lore, and I had so much more. This is one top filmmaker who has seen the final Loki episode, and they haven't because of the WGA strike. See how they move forward with him. Disney Marvel, just in case you're out there listening, Jonathan Majors Kang, while being a horrible villain, is the least of your problems. Beyond the doubt, the brains of Marvel is also grappling with the November release of the Marvels. Captain Marvel was demoted in her own sequel. It has been plagued with lengthy reshoots, and now appears likely to underwhelm at the box office, and we just have some news on that. The original domestic opening weekend estimates for the Marvels were between $7 and $10 million. Since then, they have been adjusted down just a little bit. $50 million. The Marvel machine was pumping out a lot of sewage. I'm sorry, insane content. Did it take something, or there was just too much, and they were putting people out on superheroes? Possible. It's not only possible, it's already happened. Some of us recognize that Marvel failed when they started the MCU years ago, when they moved away from their core heroes like Captain America and Iron Man, and stopped telling good stories about good people and started pushing a message through identity. As a matter of fact, they a great example from Wall Street analyst Eric Handler, who covers the tougher it is to maintain quality. Yeah, no. They tried experimenting with breaking in some new characters like Silverdrag-N and the Eternals with mixed results. With budgets as big as these, you need home runs. And why do you use mixed results that were actually flops? Well, as far as Shang-Chi is concerned, the characters in the show actually...
One op 4 remaining.
Who doesn't usually point out the Shang-Chi we got, and this is what he's supposed to look like in the comics. This is the Eternals we got. This is what he's supposed to look like in the comic books. And I might add...
Toilet! 15 seconds remaining.
They can race and gender swap everyone. Fighting with...
Toilet!
10 seconds. One friendly operator remaining.
I know some of these things are baked into the Eternals, but how many of those expanded ideas
Op 4 eliminated. Friendly mission successful.
Baked in initially, that was part of what Nate Moore was really advocating for, moving Eternals to the top of our list for us to start working on. In other words, prioritizing the message over a good story. That's going to be a bit of a theme here, and of course it's something that Variety completely leaves out. The Marvels, which opens in theaters on November 10th, will struggle to get past the infield, at least by Marvel's outsized standards. The movie, which cost $250 million, actually the budget was reported at $270 million a year ago, not counting the reshoots and marketing, and sees Brie Larson reprising her role as Captain Marvel, is tracking to open 75 to 80 million, and now we know it's much lower than that, far below the $185 million Doctor Strange Mom took in domestically in its debut weekend last year. We all know about the extensive problems with the Marvel.
Be ready to eliminate hostiles. Seconds.
Ambush set. Stay
5
clear.
seconds to insertion.
Barbed wire going up. Stay clear of the house.
Are you ready to kill some Toronto?
Turned down Black Widow after Marvel companies are interested in female filmmakers, but they actually call for male directors.
But you lie as your back.
Director. I mean, are they wrong? I don't know. I'll report it and decide, but they aren't wrong here. If you're lead with a few months to go. Now, I reported a couple of months back that The Marvels was the lowest test-screened film in the history of the MCU. Some told me that those test screenings never happened. Well, then there's this. Many employees and their friends and family of holding a public test screening in Texas. The audience gave the film middling reviews. I think middling is being generous. But not to worry, because Disney Marvel is saved thanks to the genius intellect of the call this a Hail Mary, but it just might work on that live stream.
Start programming right now. Within 20 years, they could...
Movement spotted.
That'll get them flocking to the theater. Well, anyway, the article is really into problems we all...
Loading mag.
The overtaxed VFX that led to the ballooning budget. All the reshoots, and of course the overtaxed VFX teams have voted to unionize, and they're also blaming the shitty writing. The so-called now fake scripts. That is not Victoria, that is Kevin, and even
Friendly, last operator standing.
Victoria Alonso was fired. Which, according to the book, The Reign of Marvel
Down to 15
Studios
seconds.
is really the reason she got fired. And all this was happening while
One op 4 remaining.
Marvel was bleeding money. Now, successful corporations or
5 seconds to go.
aren't usually associated with bleeding money, with the civil costing some 25
Op 4 is defusing a bomb. You need to disable their diffuser.
final season episode of HBO's Game of Thrones, but without the similar zeitgeist bang. No, it was a fart in the wind like most everything else from Marvel Phase 4 on. And if you had just set $25 million on fire and filmed it, it would have been more entertaining. There are signs that the flood of product, that's what they call it, and that's exactly what it is leading people to tune out. I'm not prepared to call it a permanent fall. I am, because it's already happened. But podcast, Marvel-based articles.
Located the diffuser. Destroy it. Diffuser has been destroyed. Mission successful.
What Disney Marvel and Disney Star Wars and Disney and all of Hollywood has forgotten is angry fans are fans that care. But at some point, they stop. A slavish adherence to the message is the source of all of these problems. They've led to bad hiring practices, poor writing. It just so happens that Variety gives us unintentionally a great example of this. As public criticism mounts, Feige is pulling the plug on scripts and projects that aren't working. Reboot with Mahershala Ali signed on for the eponymous role of a vampire. Things look promising for a 2023 release date, but the project has gone through at least 5 writers, 2 directors, and 1 shutdown 6 weeks.
Be ready to eliminate hostiles.
Keep an eye on new magazine. Reloading ammo.
10 seconds.
Keep an eye on one thing.
5 seconds.
The funny thing about the mega bands on the TV show is that they're actually going to be a big callback to the old version of Captain Marvel, the very first one. It appeared during the Captain Marvel in the MCU.
And not mine out.
And then they changed the characters a little bit. All is reinforced!
Juggernaut ready to go. Tread mine on. Target location. First floor.
Reload!
Mine activated.
What the hell did I do? ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ മൈൻഡ് ഇടയിൽ കൂടെ നടന്നും പോയി.
With one leg, but to be fair, go on to defeat his ass kicked by 4'2" Florence. I'm sure I'm missing some, but I think you get the point. So Blade being surrounded by a bunch
Op 4 has placed the diffuser near a bomb. Destroy it.
Adherence to the message. Well, please allow me to read you a couple of paragraphs from the Reign of Marvel Studios.
Located a diffuser. Destroy it. One friendly remaining. All friendlies were eliminated. Mission failure.
That is fundamentally untrue, but let's go ahead with the narrative that clearly comes from Kevin Feige. Marvel Studios under Feige and Alonso and other leaders recognized that its audience was the hundreds of millions of people, almost half of them women, according to a 2021 poll by Morning Consult. I'm glad that somebody actually paid a company to determine that half of your potential audience on planet Earth is half the population. Genius. Who love the MCU? Not a small but vocal coterie of cranks and trolls who campaigned against MCU movies with prominent female characters like the Eternals.
Be ready to engage, Op 4.
2021 as representing the decline of Marvel and the rise of the MCU.
Deploying explosive ordnance.
So I'll ask the question, if the MCU is about
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds and counting.
Barricade up! Throwing a tread mine. Setting a mine. Halfway installed.
Now it's all falling apart.
Explosive ordnance.
Say there have been talks to bring back the for an Avengers movie.
Tread mine out.
Reviving Robert
Finish
Downey
securing
Jr.
the
Iron
perimeter.
Man and Scarlett Johansson for Widow. By the way, Scarlett Johansson has said in the past that she plans to come back. Both of them were killed off in Endgame. Getting back together for one more movie, it will be well, but it
Throwing a tread mine.
not replace a band-aid, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe is still exciting. And yes,
Attila is on.
looking like this, and then
Your location has been compromised.
the Fox editions give
Let's get you back on your feet.
reimagine the X-Men franchise. The article would be ill-advised, and that statement is completely
Tread mine
wrong.
on.
This would be the perfect time to start writing Marvel's obituary, and many are starting to do that. You've noticed that the Access Media has smelled blood. It's safe to criticize Disney. Turns out what was ill-advised was giving
Mine activated.
complete control of everything Marvel.
Changing back.
Marvel 2020, that includes publishing and Marvel Studios, and they've all gone downhill. I'd say it was ill-advised. You have to give them more money.
Secure a bomb. Destroy it. Diffuser located. Disable it.
Enemy of them. They already showed up, cleaned up, home all the drugs and alcohol.
Friendly, last operator standing.
The House of Moose in Nevada. So we are winning. The great correction is happening, and the universe will unfold as it should. Unfortunately, lose a lot here. Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, and Marvel. And now Disney Marvel. They've made a
Op 4 has possession of a defused bomb. Mission failed.
Heartbreaking defeat.
Here's what I think. They go through a few semi-lackluster Avengers movies without you.
Nerderotic.com.
If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.
ഞാൻ വരാം BRB ഫുഡ് എടുത്തിട്ട് വരാം.
Well, it had to happen sooner or later. You can only hold back the time for so long before it sweeps you away. And so it is with The Marvels, the long-awaited and much-delayed sequel to 2019's Captain Marvel, a film which finally solved the mystery of how Nick Fury lost his eye in the most satisfying and totally consistent way possible. That delivered the most charming, likeable, and relatable hero of the modern age. That taught young girls everywhere that the only thing they need to succeed in life is to recognize their own awesomeness, because hard work, setbacks, personal growth, and self-improvement is for losers. A film so wildly successful and popular that its main character has appeared in literally minutes of screen time over the past 4 years. I mean, who could forget this pivotal and completely organic moment in Endgame? I'm really glad that Thor was able to tell us this, because nothing makes me warm to a character like another character straight up telling me how much I should like them after knowing them for a grand total of 30 seconds. It's truly the most efficient form of storytelling, you see, because then you don't have to trust your audience to form their own opinions, because those opinions might not be the ones you want them to have. And damn, talk about making a good impression on your co-stars. Every time Brie Larson did an interview with the other Avengers, you could practically feel the chemistry in the room.
I did my stunts because I thought that that's what everyone did.
Tom Cruise?
No, I'll be the first me, not the next Tom Cruise. Thank you very much.
Well, you know, I mean...
And as for the woman herself, well, you could sense how pumped she was at the prospect of doing it all again.
Play Captain Marvel.
I don't know. Does anyone want me to do it again?
What? Don't be so modest.
Now this is great and all, but what we really wanted to see was Captain Marvel shine in her own movie again, without pesky little things like other characters holding her back. And at last, we got what we wanted. A sequel titled Captain Marvel 2 was proudly announced for release in July 2022, and then bravely delayed until November, and then renamed to The Marvels, and then delayed again until February 2023, and then in a stunning brave move, delayed again until July, and then delayed once more until November. That's okay though, because we had Ant-Man 3 to tide us over in the meantime. And hey, all those delays could only be a good thing, right? Because it meant the studio were hard at work making the movie even better for all of us. Sure, there was a few naysayers and Debbie Downers out there spreading rumours about disastrously awful test screenings, constant script rewrites and creative differences, on-set dramas between the main actors, panicked studio interference, extensive reshoots and massive budget overruns, but we don't need to worry about that kind of thing. I'm sure that Disney Marvel have the situation well in hand. And as it happens, yesterday we finally got our first look at the cinematic masterpiece that is The Marvels. I don't know about you, but this trailer was so good it left me literally shaking. From the absolutely killer gags to the unforgettable screen chemistry.
We're not a team. I don't know. Does
Does anyone want me to do it again?
To the seamless digital effects and the brilliantly inventive premise. The general outline seems to be that the three main characters, Monica Rambeau, Kamala Khan and Carol Danvers, have somehow become entwined so that every time one of them uses their powers, they swap places with one of their counterparts. That's right, these girls are so powerful and amazing that the only thing which can possibly stop them is themselves. And personally, I think it's great to see a Marvel movie finally tackling issues that have been sorely neglected over the past 5 years, like female empowerment, a bunch of misfit heroes learning to work together as a team, quippy jokes, CGI battle scenes, and, cats. Truly, this movie is positively brimming with new and original ideas, and I can imagine it taking the MCU in a bold and inventive new direction. But Drinker, you charismatic mercurial rogue, I hear you say, why is it that Captain Marvel, supposedly the centerpiece of the movie, is barely featured in the trailer at all? Is it because the studio is well aware of how shockingly unpopular the character has been in the fanbase and is doing everything in their power to minimize her involvement? Is it because most of her scenes are being desperately reshot and re-edited to try and salvage something halfway decent from the absolute train wreck this film's shaping up to be? Is it because Brie Larson's Carol Danvers possesses all the charm and likability of a dog turd that's been left so long that it's got that weird white fungus growing all over it? Well, contrived devil's advocate argument that may actually have a grain of truth to it. I don't subscribe to any of those wild conspiracy theories. Captain Marvel is a beloved character, which is why our first movie was so successful, and not because it was sandwiched between two of the biggest releases in the MCU franchise, or the suspiciously large number of people who bought up blocks of exactly 100 seats in each cinema and then forgot to show up. It happens all the time, okay? And even if Captain Marvel isn't the focal point of the direct sequel to her own movie, it doesn't matter because we've got Kamala Khan and Monica Rambeau to carry this film. Yeah, so what if they were both introduced in obscure TV shows on Disney Plus that only a fraction of the Marvel audience actually watched, and so won't have a clue who they are or what their relationship to Captain Marvel is? MCU fans are smart, and the writers at Marvel are more than capable of laying out subtle hints for them to piece together.
I like this one.
Nailed it. So personally, I think this trailer looks absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait for November to come around, because I've got a feeling it's going to be a fun experience for all of us. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now. Albert Einstein once famously said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over.
Kyle.
Yeah, bitch, you just want to get sent home so you can play Baldur's Gate 3.
A diverse female Kenny.
Tammy Mullins has sweet f***ing
A diverse female Mr. Garrison.
Today we're going to talk more about female exclusion and the male patriarchy.
Diverse female versions of Jimbo and Ned.
Who's that, Ned?
I'm not sure.
A diverse female
What is
Butters
this?
and...
Oh, hey, Dad.
The episode also features Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, another Kathleen Kennedy, and a MacGuffin, the Panderstone. Obviously, South Park is one of the few shows, if not the only show remaining, that equally takes shots at all sides, including the crazy Kathleen Kennedy. And just in case you're new to the channel, I would include myself in that party.
Check under my bed.
Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful.
Butters, what have I told you about being more mature? I can assure you, Kathleen Kennedy is not under your bed. She gonna get me. She gonna get me.
Call me crazy, but I think this one is directed at a specific group of people.
You start getting piles and piles of hate mail, endless messages calling you the C word. You can't think straight.
Well, I'm sorry I wrote all those letters. It probably was a bit much.
No, I got like 10,000 letters a day.
I was doing more like 12 to 13,000, especially after the new Indiana Jones came out.
They even include some of our talking points.
Eric Cartman is in here all the time getting in trouble.
That's because I'm from a different universe. How many times do I have to tell you people? The Disney company tried to use their platform to bring about social change, and I got fat.
And part of the genius of South Park in this particular episode, especially in the beginning, is they could be roasting both sides at the same time. I guess the stark difference between Kathleen Kennedy, Disney,
Friendly drone
Hollywood,
deployed.
and the
Op
critics,
4 is
and for
reinforcing its
myself,
location.
is I am not above criticism. I welcome it. I expected it in this episode, and I'll have to say that I was left wanting more. Now, they did skewer Disney.
I'm just saying, isn't it possible that we here at Disney pandered so much that we've opened a doorway to the Pandaverse?
10 seconds before insertion.
And yet we do have the Panda Stone downstairs.
And there was some
5
criticism
seconds
of
to
old
insertion.
Bobby Iger.
Something is wrong with the universe. Our stocks are down and every Disney movie this year has failed.
You don't understand it, sir. We keep making the same movie over and over and pandering to everyone, but suddenly it's not working.
Then we've got to pander harder.
Miss Kennedy, you're back.
Great to see you, ma'am. Thanks, you guys. We have a lot of changes to discuss at the company. From now on, we're only going to make original content that doesn't pander.
But old Bobby Iger got away with the light touch. Now, I would have written him like he is, a former weatherman who just likes to buy everything, but that's just me.
I love lamb. I love lamb.
Now, most of the focus is on Kathleen Kennedy, but to be fair, a lot of the stuff that was thrown at her is conflated with everything that's wrong with, for example, Disney Marvel.
I don't care what you saw, Butters. There's gotta be a better explanation than just this stupid multiverse. Some multiverse stuff is cool. Yeah, it can be cool for like one movie. Now it's just this cheap device that people use to breathe life in entire franchises.
Space-time portal is manifesting. Pandaverse quantum fields are aligned.
Yeah, that sounds like typical multiverse gobbledygook.
What do we know about the Pandaverse?
I'm afraid we know frighteningly little.
Can you imagine it? Multiple universes with infinite combinations
The
of pants and
diffuser is
shirts.
no longer in your
What do you think
possession.
about multiple universes now, boys?
Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
There is another very good example that you can lay at the feet of Kathleen Kennedy and the other executives in corporate Hollywood. Their use of their shilling-and-able partners in the corporate access media, especially when it comes to their approach to fandom.
We're just minding our own business and she keeps saying she's Eric Cartman.
Okay, what's wrong with that?
What's wrong is it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, I see. There's a diverse female where Cartman used to be, and you don't like that.
It's not that we don't like it, it's don't you know?
I'll see a problem with it. If I don't think Eric could be a black woman, then maybe the problem is you.
What?
But it doesn't end there. They really do take shots at everybody.
No! Oh my god. Please, no!
Down to one friendly.
And America.
Hello, welcome to Shitty Walk. Can I take an order, Bree?
Op 4 eliminated all friendlies.
Okay, you just want a tea and talk about female-dominated society. That's fine.
And no, I'm not sure what the difference is. Then we get South Park's guest of honor, Kathleen Kennedy, who does get the brunt of the criticism through most of the episode, but not all, through two characters. And that's the beauty of this show. They use Cartman as plausible deniability. They used him to represent a portion of the fandom, like it or not. And there's Cartman Kennedy, who represents the very worst aspects of Lucasfilm. And this stuff is absolute gold.
Is there a problem, people?
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric movie.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
Some of the execs are just
Friendly drone
expressing
deployed.
that
Op
maybe-
4 is reinforcing its location.
Indiana Jones, put a chick in it, make her name it gay!
And this is my personal favorite.
Kathleen Kennedy is down on set right now ruining the new Bambi movie.
Mrs. Kennedy, Bambi's a baby deer.
Fuck baby dear, put a chick in it, make her gay!
But this is a very close
Insertion in
second.
10
There you are,
seconds.
Miss Kennedy, the linguine and clam sauce.
Excuse me, I believe I asked you to put a chick in
5
it,
seconds
Mr.
to
Gay.
insertion.
Yes, the chef was a little confused what you meant by that.
It means put a chick in the linguine and make her fucking gay! And I want it leg!
Then there's the real Kathleen Kennedy, who was thrown through a portal into Universe 216B by Cartman Kennedy due to her overuse of the Pander Stone.
I saw the Panderstone for the first time a few years ago. It's an ancient piece of artificial intelligence that could be used to make the same movies over and over again while appealing to absolutely everyone.
While appealing to no one, a line that should have been in, but wasn't. It's one of the few missed opportunities in this. But I think Matt and Trey make up for that a little bit by pointing out one of our main criticisms of Hollywood overall and Disney Star Wars in particular.
I decided I would show them. I would start making movies to fight all the bigotry in our society. But instead of doing any real work, I turned to the Panderstone.
Newsflash, a Star Wars movie or a crappy D+ Star Wars show is not a platform for social change. It's supposed to be entertainment, and it's especially legitimate from a billion-dollar corporation run by
No longer in your possession.
adult pretenders who drive past 10 cities in their shithole of a city every day and dodge fentanyl zombies to get to work and don't give them a second thought. Want to enact some social change? Take the hundreds of millions of dollars you're going to waste on a movie and a TV show that'll be
Setting charge!
4 last operator standing.
Anyway, I'll
The
also
diffuser.
a really good strategy to eliminate your fandom.
Then it's you!
But was he blind?
Op 4 eliminated. Friendly mission successful.
I wouldn't have written all those letters if you ever tried to fight racism.
This is where into the Pandaverse brings it home. Kathleen Kennedy ends up being just a sweet old lady who wanted to make great entertainment, but she got upset from all the fan criticism and decided to double down.
I know you care about all things Disney. I'm sorry I was so reckless with the things that you love. It was just lazy.
Oh, if it were only that simple. You know what? If Kathleen Kennedy came out and said something like that 3 or 4 years ago, Disney Star Wars might still be alive. And that's followed up with Cartman apologizing to Kathleen Kennedy and saying that railing on woke stuff all the time is lazy too. I was expecting a shot like that from South Park, and we were not disappointed. Listen, they're not going to get into the nuances of the arguments on this channel or any other when it comes to the Star Wars fandom and all the complaints of woke Hollywood, which are very legitimate. That's why they made this episode. So everyone returns to their
Be ready to engage Op 4. Friendly's victorious. Hostiles eliminated.
And all is right with the world, South Park's and ours, because we needed this. I would call it a classic despite its flaws. Sure, there was some missed opportunities. Again, they could have gone a lot harder on Iger concerning the stock, the overall health of the company, and their little skirmish in Florida. Maybe they're saving Kevin Feige for a sequel because most of the Pandaverse is happening in Disney Marvel right now, and they're the ones still making movies and Disney Star Wars isn't. And while Matt and Trey did mention that some of the fans were racist, they completely failed to mention that Disney did things like shrink John Boyega's fin on the Force Awakens poster for China, covered up Chadwick Boseman's face on the Black Panther poster for China, and thanked a camp that you mentioned that Disney did things like shrink John Boyega's fin on the Force.
ഓക്കെ എനിവേസ് ഞാൻ തൽക്കാലത്തേക്ക് ഇന്ന് നിർത്തുകയാണ്. എത്ര നേരമായി? ഐ ഗസ് 1 hour 35 minutes. ഞാൻ ഇനി കഴിക്കണം. ആൻഡ് 9:30 ഇന്ന് കുറച്ച് ലേറ്റായി സ്ട്രീം ബിക്കോസ് ഞാൻ വീട്ടിലെത്തിയത് അത്യാവശ്യം ലേറ്റായി. ആൻഡ് ഐ വാസ് എക്സ്പെക്ടിങ് എ മീറ്റിംഗ് ടു ഹാപ്പൻ വിച്ച് ഡിഡ്ന്റ് ആൻഡ് ഗോട്ട് പോസ്റ്റ്പോൺഡ്. എനിവേസ് Anyways, ഞാൻ തൽക്കാലത്തേക്ക് നിർത്തുകയാണ്. For all the people who joined the stream, thanks for joining. And പതിവ് പോലെ goodbye GG's and to be continued. Bye bye.